We're going to start our meeting a little bit differently. We're going to take things out of order and go to our presentation on student achievement. And tonight we have with us the Woodbury School. Mrs. Palmer.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Berry, and welcome to Woodbury school community that's with us this evening. It's my pleasure to introduce the group that's with us this evening. Technology Education, as it was formerly known at Woodbury, has had a redesign, now focusing on engineering and design. And the teachers are with us this evening to present on a curriculum change and program change that's taken place this year. Connected to Project Lead the Way, the program is called Gateway. It has a focus on inquiry and collaboration and technology integration, and I think you will be quite pleased with what you see and hear from our students and our teachers this evening. So we'll start with Principal St. Laurent.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
As Maura said, we have an opportunity to bring some new technology, some curiosity, some excitement into our former tech ed program, now engineering and design, using the resources of Project Lead the Way in this new STEM initiative. This year and tonight, we're beginning with a unit called Designing and Modeling, and that's going to be the focus of our presentation. We do have plans to roll out specific grade level courses over the next couple of years. But for this first year, all of our students are receiving the same unit, so that our graduating 8th graders will have the same foundation that our 6th and 7th graders will. We'll talk a little about that expansion as we go on this evening, but to begin with, I'd like to turn over to Mr. Whitaker to talk about this year's Design and Modeling unit.
Thank you, Mr. St. Laurent, and thank you to the school board for giving us the opportunity to share with you what we believe is an innovative STEM opportunity for all our Woodbury students. As Mr. St. Laurent said, we're starting with Design and Modeling. Design and Modeling, which is the course that all students will be taking this year, provides students with opportunities to apply the design process to creatively solve problems. This is truly a STEM curriculum. Students are introduced to the unit problem in the first activity and are asked to make connections to the problem throughout the lessons in the unit. Students will understand how models can be simulated to represent an authentic situation and generate data for further analysis and observations. This is part of the design and engineering process. So the course itself, I think the word authentic really brings it to life. So the word authentic is important in there. In our case, in what you will see in the video that we've created, students discovered the design process, so they complete an instant design challenge to create an ankle-foot orthosis for a person with a disability. Students conduct a mechanical dissection in the lesson project to better understand how objects and parts interact while using sketches to communicate and document their findings. In Lesson 2, students are introduced to modeling and statistical analysis. Students transfer a two-dimensional representation to a three-dimensional solid model with technology. Students study basic geometric shapes within a mathematical model and use combinations of geometric primitives to form more complex shapes. During the design project, students work in teams and apply the design process to create a puzzle cube, something you will see later in the presentation, a little surprise for you. Students create a solid model using a computer-aided design application, better known as CAD, and fabricate their design solutions for testing. Truly authentic STEM labs bustling with creative ideas from our students. At this point, we'd like to direct your attention to the monitor as our engineering and design teachers share their experiences with the program.
Welcome to the Engineering and Design program at Woodbury Middle School. This is our first year introducing an engineering curriculum to our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
The students have been thoroughly engaged in small teams as well as individually. Now the projects in Project Lead the Way program, this Gateway program, require students to participate in small groups. They take on specific roles within those groups to contribute to the team.
The student engagement that is involved in this, it's really important that students participate in this in order for this program to be successful. There's projects, there's activities, There's assessments kids take. It's very student-centered and almost student-directed.
The timing for this type of program is perfect. Employers for the 21st century are seeking workers with more of a strong background in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, your STEM backgrounds. In response to this demand, schools must prepare the students in STEM-related fields. Project Lead the Way helps them to achieve this goal.
And we find that teaching the design process or the engineering design process helps kids have a systematic step-by-step approach to solving problems or inventing new items or innovations. I also see that there's a lot of students that are able to actually apply using knowledge and skills from across the curriculum here at Woodbury, from different disciplines of study to create their solutions.
In this type of program, technology is used quite a bit and helps to promote critical thinking, communication skills. These benefits are enhanced by the use of smartboard, Google Classroom, laptop, and even the cell phones as a tool.
STEM is a huge movement in our country today, and the T&E in STEM, the technology and engineering, is happening right here in our labs at Woodbury every day.
My hope for the future of this program is that it continues to grow with additional opportunities for Woodbury students to be successful. Students will hopefully be better informed and prepared as they select CTE classes when entering the high school.
So tonight we also have two of our students come to the podium to speak about their experiences as learners in the classroom. So it's my pleasure from 8th grade to introduce Lauren Ross and Eddie Rowell from grade 7.
Hi, I am Eddie Rowell. I am a 7th grader at Woodbury Middle School. Engineering and design is awesome. The program we are using is very different than what we did last year in Tech Ed. We are learning how to design products with a team of people and use technology to support our work. One of the computer programs we are using to support us is called 123D Design. This program is probably one of the coolest things I have ever used. In 123D Design, you can create an object, maneuver it, and change its color and angle. This program helps us design our products. Our work this year challenges us to think, work collaboratively, and be creative. My favorite part of engineering and design is creating real-world products to support people with disabilities like cerebral palsy. I like to make cool designs for other kids that will help them. One of our tasks this year was to design a foot orthosis to help a person with cerebral palsy walk with support. Another project we are working on right now is to modify a wooden jigsaw puzzle in order for a person with cerebral palsy to grasp the puzzle pieces easily, to put it together and take it apart. We discussed a variety of modifications and chose one that we believed would work. We constructed it, tested it, and presented our products to the other engineer teams. I also like that we work and design in collaborative groups and teams. We can bounce ideas off one another, and we have come to understand that a group of us thinking about how to solve a problem is better than working alone. Most of our groups consist of 3 to 4 students. Each student has a role to fill with specific responsibilities. I have had 2 roles in my teams. Once I was a team manager, and the other time I was a recorder. I have enjoyed my roles in working collaboratively with students I have never worked with before. Engineering and design has been one of my favorite classes this year. I have learned how to use the computer as a tool and how the computer can help me complete my work quickly and effectively. I have learned how to collaborate with other people and to respect their ideas and contributions. Finally, I have learned about the different ways engineers design and test out products. I now know that there are a lot of different jobs out there, and maybe going to the engineering field is within my reach. The good news for me is that the Salem High School offers engineering classes for me to take when I get there. Thank you for taking the time to hear about my experience in engineering and design this year.
Hello, my name is Lauren Ross. I'm in 8th grade. Since I am in 8th grade, I've had 2 years taking the previous Tech Ed class, and this is the only year I will take the new engineering and design program. I feel as though there is a big difference between the previous Tech Ed program and the new engineering and design one. For instance, in Tech Ed, we focused more on building the projects, while this year we've learned more on the process of building something and applying it to real-life situations. We've also done much more designing and drawing this year than we have previously. We've also worked in groups much more this year than we have in previous years, which I felt had a positive impact on the lesson, allowing us to get opinions and ideas from other students. I think using the computers more often this year has also helped my, as well as my fellow classmates' understanding of the technology portion of engineering design. For example, we designed and created an ankle and foot orthosis for one of our projects. We had specific guidelines that we had to fulfill using only materials such as cardboard, soda bottles, and old phone chargers. I was surprised that we were able to create a working AFO using these materials. In this new program, we learned how to apply the skills that we learned to real-life scenarios. Since I am leaving Woodbury and going to the high school next year, I am very excited about the new opportunities for me and my classmates involving engineering and designing. From what I understand, we will be having many more opportunities involving robotics and computer mechanics. This is amazing and so exciting since we will be doing this in the new CTE wing of the newly renovated high school. And it allows students with an interest in engineering design to learn more about the field.
We'd like to show our second clip at this time, give you a look into what it looks like inside our engineering and design program.
Yes, but as a known scientist, it was a bit surprising that a girl blinded me with something.
I'd like to thank Scott Bradford for helping putting those clips together. I would also like to point out the students had no idea what that song was, even though I was, it's true, I was very excited to find that extended mix without lyrics. So as I mentioned at the opening, we definitely have plans to move forward over the next couple of years with different modules that we could teach. And we're also looking at introducing a separate computer science course as well. To speak to that future expansion, again, over to Mr. Whitaker.
Thank you, Mr. St. Laurent. As we move forward, the goal of offering a comprehensive STEM experience at Woodbury becomes closer. In the coming year, we plan to expand our offerings for these STEM pathways. We will continue to offer 6th grade students the design and modeling curriculum, which will lay the foundation for automation in robotics in 7th grade and energy in the environment in 8th grade. So each year, students will get a different facet of STEM education. Automation and robotics is a course that allows students to trace the history, development, and influence of automation and robotics as they learn about mechanical systems, machine automation, and computer control systems. Students use the VEX Robotics platform to design, build, and program real-world objects such as traffic lights, toll booths, and robotic arms. Our engineering and design teachers would also facilitate a course with the name of Energy and the Environment for our 8th graders. In this course, students are challenged to think big and look toward the future as they explore sustainable solutions to our energy needs and investigate the impact of energy on our lives and the world. They design and model alternative energy sources and evaluate options for reducing energy consumption. To round off and complement our other STEM offerings, as Mr. St. Laurent mentioned, we would also plan to introduce computer sciences next year to all 7th and 8th grade students. This course will take the place of our current computer library course. In this course, students learn fundamental computer science concepts using MIT App Inventor, including coding. The course aims to develop computational thinking and build student excitement in the field of computer sciences. Truly exciting things happening at Woodbury. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. St. Laurent.
So due to the timing of this program being relatively early in the year, the design and modeling focus of the video is really focused on the design aspect. There was a modeling portion as well that was mentioned briefly by our students a little bit in the video. They essentially designed these puzzles on their own, and these were designed on the computer, and then they were manufactured in the classroom. So to speak briefly to the modeling side, I'd like to invite Lauren and Eddie back up to the podium.
For the final portion of this presentation, we will be giving all of you a model of the final project we did in engineering design, a cube puzzle. In this project, each group member was required to draw 1 to 2 pieces of the puzzle. Then, as a group, we created the puzzle using 27 individual wooden cubes. Then, on our own, we made the same puzzle using a long 3/4 by 3/4 by 22-inch piece of wood, which is what we will be giving you today. This project taught us about making sure we have accurate measurements and making sure the drawings correspond with the actual product. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Take some time later to figure out how to put the puzzle together. It is a challenge.
We're going to get the puzzle. Oh my God. Thank you.
Oh, we got our own puzzle. Great.
Weren't you listening?
I thought I was going to have to participate in group problem solving, and I was
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I was never good with Rubik's Cubes.
Good thing you're not making us do it tonight.
Thank you.
Might be more interesting than our meeting.
More than the budget, that's for sure.
So if you notice later when you're playing with the puzzles or now, you'll notice that they're all individual. They're designed by the different student groups. They weren't just a set format that they had to follow. They were the students' own creations in the classroom. And if you pull them apart and scramble the pieces on your table, it is quite hard to put back together. And that was their concluding project for their first semester in engineering design. So that wraps our formal portion of the presentation. I definitely want to thank all of our staff that's in attendance here tonight, and of course our students. And any questions or comments, you're certainly welcome.
I don't think that rubber band's going to come off of mine for a while. Questions or comments from the board members? Mrs. Corbett?
I always like to start. Thank you so much. This was wonderful. I am amazed at what I saw tonight. I think this is incredible, and I'm so happy that it's here. Thank you to the students for coming, because you spoke so well and explained it so we could really understand it. And I shared with the board last week that I had the privilege of visiting the class a couple of weeks ago, just to stop in quickly with Mrs. Palmer because I happened to be in the building. And at that point, I know it was only day 2 of your new semester or quarter, and I was amazed at how confident the teachers were and ready to deliver the instruction. The students were all kind of on their mark and engaged with the work that they were doing, and I was really impressed just with a brand new program that's way out of what we were doing before. So to me, this is amazing. I want to thank the staff for really going at this and taking the time to work with it and the students, and you were very confident. And I loved what I saw, and I'm thinking, I loved the collaboration, the technology, critical thinking skills, the communication. I saw it all kind of rolled up into a package of what these students need. So I'm wondering if I'd be an engineer if I had this class. But I don't know. I'm not taking my rubber band off. But anyway, I did have one quick question, because this seems like such an extensive project. So how long does it take for the students to design something like this? Like, is it a week? Is it what's the period? And then how long do they get to actually build it? Like, what's that time frame?
Well, the full course for both projects, both of the foot product and for the puzzle that you have, was the 45-day quarter. But Mr. Nottoli, if you wanted to speak briefly to the
Yes,
construction.
Mr. Nottoli, I'd love to hear
window?
from you. Come on. Come on.
Solve the puzzle.
This particular project took them approximately 2.5 weeks to complete. The purpose of it was, once they made their prototype, they all had the opportunity to make their own individual project, but before they could do that, they had to come up with how many linear inches of material they need, plus 10% for waste, and then find the surface area of each piece, and then the volume of each piece. And once they came up with that, we would give them the materials. So not only is it important to go through the engineering process and the design process, it's also important to be able to build what the engineers design.
Nice. Great.
Anything else?
Thank you. Not from me.
Thank you. Any further? Dr. Delahunt? Oh, Mr. Morgan, did you want to speak?
Just a moment. Thank you very much. I appreciate this. Did I understand these are individual, and I can't watch Mr. Campbell put his together, so I know how to put mine together?
This actually is
Yeah,
Lauren's
different.
group design, but each group made their own individual one. And the paper that's in there that has the pictures on it is just the pictures of the CAD design of each individual part. It's not the solution. So if you want the solution, you have to come and take a couple of
I
classes.
have a plan to get it back together that involves making marks on each block. This is impressive work. And I assume when you say it took them 3 weeks, that was a couple of hours a day for 3 weeks. This is impressive work for that. How did you guys like working with the 3D CAD stuff?
It was pretty interesting.
Pretty interesting? That's good stuff to know. This is very important stuff. Congratulations, you guys did a great job.
Mr. Carney?
First of all, I want to thank Eddie and Lauren for doing such a great job. You're very confident, and what I really liked was the excitement that you folks showed, the two of you showed. It seems like you really got into these projects. And in the business world, this is exactly what happens. You need to work as a team, you need to share ideas, you need to accept criticism, and you need to be able to help each other out. So this is real life application they're going to use the rest of your life. So good luck and thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Berry. I do want to thank Eddie and Lauren for being here this evening. And as I mentioned just before we started, to be selected to come here, your teachers and administrators must have a lot of confidence in you and your capacity. So you must have demonstrated something special during class time to be here. So you should be very proud of yourselves. Your families certainly should be proud of you. You did a wonderful job. For Mr. Nottoli and Mr. Giolinas and Ms. Landry, I want to thank them. You know, this looks impressive, but beyond that, the three of them gave up a week of their summer to begin learning what the Gateway program is and the design and modeling module would require. And it did take not a lot of sort of effort because they already have tremendous capacity, but when you're switching gears from a long-standing program to something brand new, there's some energy that needs to be expended in order to make it worthwhile for the kids. So I'm grateful for your willingness to embrace this. In fact, they knew and suggested some kind of change, and this is what they came up with, and I'm very pleased and impressed with the program that they've done and excited about what is to come. For the students that don't become engineers, that aren't excited about becoming engineers with this program, think about a career in law, because your friends and classmates are going to need patent attorneys, based on what I saw. And I want to thank the families for being here as well, and all the staff for supporting your colleagues. I think it's very impressive, so many of you are here. And all of the staff can take some credit for having 2 students that presented so well this evening. And this really is a collective effort. We talked with the board about next generation science standards and the need to focus on that, and clearly there's math and science involved in these type modules and these type efforts. So it was very impressive, and I'm thrilled that you're here. I'm thrilled that you demonstrated this, and I'm very pleased. This is something that's going to grow, not only continue, but grow as well. So thank you very much. It was very impressive.
Thank you. It was a great presentation, and it's very current with this board because we've been talking about our budget and adding programs like this into our budget. So it's your presentation comes to us in a very timely fashion. And I'd like to thank all of the students and the staff, the administrators, and parents and families for coming in tonight. But that concludes this portion of the meeting. If you'd like to stay for the rest of it, you're welcome to. If not, you're allowed to go now.